Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final debate of the Edge 2013 Winter Edge election. Tonight we have our three candidates, Aceville, Carowan, and Melly Baker, or Mellis Baker. Martin and Martin are here as a bunch of questions, which the community have pulled together to ask of the three of you. We're over here, Martin. We're over here. Okay, there we go. Hey, Ark?
All right, thank you very much. So this is going to be in a normal debate style. There are 5 questions here. I will ask each 5 to each of you, so you all get your chance to answer. And let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to start with Ace, move our way to the right. So the first question for Ace. What is your policy on new people joining the server or the Edge in general? Do you have any ways to change the current system? Ace?
Ace, are you
Sorry,
muted,
I always have a habit of doing that. I'm terribly sorry. I always forget I am going to be first.
I told you you're going to be first.
Yeah. So the current policy that I think should be in place is help new users out, but don't tell them to join the Edge per se, in the sense you should let them decide where they should join. Really, they shouldn't be forced to join the Edge. They should be allowed to choose between any communities, and they should be allowed to wander. You have to make sure that's clear to them, and I will make sure that all community members know this rule, because there have been times in the really distant past where certain members have gone crazy with Edge talk and have talked down to other communities, which they have been dealt with accordingly when those times have showed up. So making sure that new users are, welcomed by the Edge, but not, forced into the Edge. We do not want to be another famous community that got into trouble for really harming the new users. And in terms of my policy towards new people in the Edge, I'm open to people joining the Edge. There will be a time where we have to set down a set rules and guidelines, because there have been a couple of new users that have shown up and then disappeared. So there needs to be a policy set in place to handle how their stuff could be handled. For example, Bobo Hoover's house needed to be redesigned because for the longest time it was just left alone. So, for example, those things.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ville. Miss Anne, same question. What is your policy on new people?
I'm all for new people joining the Edge. I mean, we get all sorts of amazing people coming through the server. I tour new people all the time. And we get all sorts of, all of us were new people at one time, and we got called to the Edge and we toured it, and we've gotten people not only from the initial founding of the Edge, like I wasn't even part of that. I was kind of like a second wave. But we get all sorts of new people like Cyrita, who's amazing, and I love her in the community. And I want to continue that because I feel like adding new people adds like sort of fresh perspective and new creativity and all sorts of awesome stuff. But I do want to make sure that the new people have the right attitude into coming into the Edge, and that they're respectful, because like we are a very large community, and so it's very, very easy to step on toes. Either like in Minecraft by building, or like by accident, or in the call or whatever. So what I would do is I would want to set up a system in which like we have the welcome center. I'd like to set up something like that which has like a rule board, and after we give them a tour of the Edge, I want to take them in and say, okay, here's the rules. If you agree to these, say yes, and let them read through all the rules to be determined. Our expectations for them, because sometimes we don't like people building cobble houses and that sort of stuff. We can hash through all that at some point. And then have them agree to those rules, and then have a documentation of that. I save a lot of photos, so that's no problem for me, that they agree to that. So in the case that they violate those rules, we can tell them hey, that you agree to this, do you understand? and that way, like, there's no unreasonable expectations. They know what we expect of them, and they know what is like appropriate, inappropriate. Like the AJF, like built without permission, which it was his mistake. But I'm not sure if he knew that we assign plots like that. So I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page before we move on. And adding people to the edge or the call, I think, has to be determined, like, maybe not right when they join the edge or right when they join the server do they join the edge, but like within some time, because we do tend to get a lot of people who join and never come back, like Bobo Hoover. And I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it kind of has to be thought through whether we want a certain person in the edge or not. Because a lot of them are assets, but some of them maybe aren't as much. So, like, maybe some policy, like, you must spend this much time on the server, like, a week before joining the edge. So that way we can kind of get, like, a feeling for how your personality is and, you know, whether you would fit well with the edge or, I don't know, something like that.
All right, thank you very much. And Mr. Baker, the same question. What is your policy on new users?
Well, as we have been in the past, I know for being a mod, we always welcome new users, offer as much help as we can. Of course, enforce the rules, making sure that they're notified of what is and what isn't allowed. As far as for joining a community, I would like to see in place maybe some kind of, maybe a trial period. You know, let them get their feet wet a little bit, maybe try out, you know, let them join in some of the edge activities if they're up to par for it. And if they work out, you know, welcome them to join. But if they don't, you know, just say, you know, we don't think that you're, you know, edge material.
All right, thank you very much. So we're going to move on to the second question of the night. We're going to start with Ace again, but before we do, I'd just like to announce that there is going to be a 2-minute time limit on all answers starting now. Silent to my left here will be the one counting that. Apparently he has a lot of stopwatches, so he's the best choice. Okay, so the next... It's okay.
Are you
with
apologizing
Ace.
for taking a lot of time or for spinning around with your head at a broken neck angle?
I never apologize for spinning, but
Okay.
I talk a lot. So
Mr. Aceville, whenever you are ready to go, I will count some times.
The
I have
question-
to read the question first. He doesn't have to get the question.
That would be important.
Okay, so starting with Ace, the next question. As more people join the Edge, more people also join the Skype call that we're in right now. What will you do to ensure that the call is an enjoyable place for everybody?
Well, if it comes to a serious discussion, we will have to, and Mr. Darren has provided a set of rules originally, we will have to reevaluate those complete rule list, and we will have to most likely, well, the first rule has been altered to a degree, but we have to make rules in place so everyone can respect it. Typically, a user would have a 3-strike policy, so, you know, you pretty much get 3 strikes and you're out. But obviously, it would be a case by case. It would never come to the point where 3 strikes, you know, you're really out if you commit small, you know, points. But it would be case by case, and rules will need to be added. I do agree with that, especially with the large calls such as right now.
All right, thank you very much. Kara, same question. What will you do to ensure that the call is a nice place for everyone?
we do have rules already in place for the call, and I know we haven't really enforced them lately. It hasn't been super necessary in the past, but I think to a certain degree, we personally don't like to call people out on things when like it's annoying, or when somebody's being offensive, or when somebody's talking over you. And I think not only should the future mayor and pretty much everyone in the call enforce those rules, like those, we should repost those at some point. But like the mayor, nobody should be afraid to talk to me as the mayor potentially, to like call those people out or tell them that we have an issue in a polite way. And like we should all as a group sort of not be afraid to say when we have a problem. And if you're not comfortable with calling them out personally, like the mayor is always someone you should go to and say like, I'm uncomfortable, can you help me? And I would like to be that sort of role.
Okay, thank you very much. Melly, the same question. How will you keep the call a nice place to be?
Well, if it's anything like chat, of course rules are going to need to be in place. Whenever I join the Edge chat, I know that it's going to be a warm and welcoming place. I kind of like the atmosphere every time I join the call. As far as rules go, I think it needs to be a case-by-case basis, because some people might not intentionally do what they're doing or know that they're doing it. And I think it should also be, put into consideration that I think the whole group would need to decide on what would be proper, in the call, rather than just leaving the decision up to one person, like having the mayor do it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to move on to the third question now. This time we're going to be starting with Melly, moving our way to the left. So the third question of the night. As it stands right now, the Edge has theme days, where there's a certain activity going on any given day of the week. Do you like the theme days the way they are now, or would you change them in some way? And if so, how?
Well, I like some of the theme days that you guys plan, but I would also like to see a little bit of variation. I mean, it's kind of like the school cafeteria lunch program. You know exactly when Fish Friday is going to be, or when you're going to have Hamburger Tuesday. So it would be nice to like give it a little bit of a mix here and there, for special occasions. As far as events are planned, I don't know. I mean, there is a ton of stuff that we could be potentially doing, like having a game night, or just something as simple as maybe even just everybody build something, just build one big project within an hour span or something.
Okay, thank you very much. Kara, the same question. Do you like the theme days, or how would you change them?
Personally, I love the theme days. Monday Monday is like my favorite day of the week. I try to participate in them as much as possible. I know that the weekends we typically take is sort of like break days, and I don't know if there's like any demand for things on those days. I know Civ Sunday kind of dissolved, and if there's anything that we wanted to do on those days, hey, that could be organized. I like Melly's idea of like special occasions, like maybe we could do like a bi-weekly rotation, where like we always have Mining Monday, but like every other week we do something different, like kind of rotate the menu, so to speak. I know I kind of miss the fact that we don't really have any major building happening in the Edge, because a lot of it's already happened. And I'd always be interested personally in the idea of like doing a build together, because I love working with the Edgewos and build challenges. I don't always get the opportunity to do that. So for me, that would be pretty fantastic, but it depends on really what the community wants.
Okay, thank you very much. And Ace, same question.
When it comes to the theme days, I believe that currently they've been all really popular. I do want to add variations to it, like recently we have introduced sick cons for some people instead of Draw My Thing, and then TF2 Tuesday instead of just Tesla, because it has been, apparently everyone doesn't want to do every single thing, and that as we grow, for example, Draw My Thing will sometimes get full, things like that. We have to offer different events even within the same day. I really do agree with Melly, and it's a similar idea I had. We actually have a day or a theme that we actually build to as a community. That would be an excellent idea, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, Ace. Okay, so we're going to move on to the fourth question of the evening. And this time we're going to mix it up. We're going to start with Caro, move on to Ace, and then Melly last. Just give him a little bit of a break. So, our fourth question. Although the Edge is a large and thriving community, it does face many challenges and weaknesses. What do you think the biggest challenge that the Edge is facing? And what are you doing to fix it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think one of the biggest challenges the Edge could face, and like this is just speculation because I've been in the Edge so long, it's hard to know what happens outside the Edge as a non-Edge. Oh, I'm kind of biased. But the Edge is the largest community. I mean, like, I know if I was watching the Minecraft show as a non-Edge WoW, I'd be like, whoa, that Edge, pretty cool. So, like, hey, as a non-Edge WoW, maybe I'd want to join. But, like, maybe the fact that we're so large and everyone wants to be part of us to some degree means that like we have to make sure that we have exemplary responsibility, that like our behavior is respectful as a community, that we don't have like fights over plots or room for builds, that we have enough room for the Etch to grow into new areas, because there's always stuff going on the Edge. What am I doing to improve that? Well, I think like as a mayor, you kind of have to be an ambassador for the Edge. Like make sure that like the community is following the right guidelines, that we develop new lands for the Edge, that you clean up other areas that could be potentially used as builds, organize plans for maybe a new idea for a build that we can do as a community, just basically show us off. And I do that as the historian with all the pictures and stuff, so we can show a slideshow of how awesome we are all the time. Yeah.
Good timing.
Thank you very much. Aceville, the same question. What is the Edge's largest weakness, and what are you doing to fix it?
Well, there have been a lot of weaknesses, but as Kara pointed out, one of the main things is image, and the thing is land. Image I always have tried to benefit us for the longest time. I communicate with communities such as Neo Japan, and I have communicated with Melly in the past over issues and how things should be handled. In terms of land, recently we have been trying to implement new land areas. We have, as a group, cleared out major plots for people to actually build things, and land scarcity will be encountered in the future again and again, and potentially we will have to look into a potential new area of the Edge as a site, and we will have, as a group, have to decide on that.
Okay, thank you. And Melly, same question. What is the Edge's largest weakness? What would you do to fix it?
Well, I believe with the Edge's growth, it's definitely going to be the space that's allowed to build in the Edge. And I know a way to fix it, and it could be real fun if we incorporate the everybody build to one of those special fun days, and just do a major, huge, like, land, developing area where we just keep growing the land out. I know there's a lot of ocean out there, and I know we can definitely, strengthen the amount of plots that we have out there. I think another concern that or a problem that's starting to grow with the Edge is there are a lot of members, and I don't know if all of them, like, I barely know all the Edge members that are part of Edge, and I don't know if all of them are even active. And it would be nice to be able to get to know who isn't all involved, and maybe just touch base with them, see if they're still interested in Minecraft, because I know some of them just don't even play Minecraft anymore, or other circumstances. That's about it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we have added in another question, so there are actually 2 questions remaining. For this one, we're going to start with Melly, work our way to the left. Now, Melly, if you were elected as mayor, what is one project you would like to see completed over your term?
I want the baseball field done. I would love to see that done. I'd love to see a lot of the builds that are around here done, but primarily I love the baseball field. I think that would be one of the key, one of the key builds that everybody would look and go, that's a pretty cool build.
Okay, thank you very much. Caro, what is one project you would like to see completed over the course of your term, should you be elected?
There are a lot of things that I wish I could do, but I think the one that I'd like to get done the most is making a set of viewable behavioral rules for the Edge and marking out new plots for new members so that they're visible for anyone to find, just so that we're all on board with like what areas are empty, and anyone could tour the Edge and say like, do you like this plot? Do you like this plot? And then we could all be like, yay! And that the new members are welcomed in the correct manner, and that it's easy for anyone to do. Maybe even creating like a video tour like Ace wanted to do. That'd be really cool. So new members would probably be my focus.
Okay, thank you. And Ace, same question. If you were elected, what project would you like to see completed?
For sure, I will agree with Melly on the baseball thing. It's a tremendous project, and really want to see it done myself. In terms of projects, I want to make sure that Edge develops correctly. So I want new projects to come up, and I want to see them done instead of left behind. I want to just fill up Edge with more houses and make Bucket open to pretty much anyone who wants to build tall skyscraper buildings, and open up the Citadel to actually have shops in it, and just mainly see things finished and new things to start up, because that's how we're going to progress as a society, as a community. Community. That's it.
Whatever works for you. Okay, and now we're moving on to our last question of the night. It's just going to run from Ace left to right. And the final question is this: how are you different from the other candidates? Ace?
Well, how am I different from the other candidates is I have experience running this community. I know the ups and downs completely. I know that I have to open up and make sure that everyone has shared responsibilities, but I have to make sure that people know that the difference between Caro, Melly, and I is that I have the experience within this community. As with Cedro, I was the second in charge, and sometimes Cedro knows this to be true. I had to be in charge because he wasn't here. So I know how to run this community.
Okay, thank you. Caro, same question. How are you different from the two standing beside you?
I may have not taken a major active role in the Edge, but I have done like a crap ton of leadership positions in my life. And if there's one thing I've learned as a leader, it's not your job to do all the work. It's your job to develop the project that you're working on and to develop the people that you're working on. So I think the major difference between me and the other candidates is I'm for a sort of decentralization of what the mayor does, like giving plots and all that stuff. Like I want to give more of that control over to the community, because I feel like not only is it sort of stressful on one person to sort of be the whole head of control, but it's not fair to the community if I was to get sick, or if I was to, I don't know, leave for some reason for an extended period of time, that, no one would know what's going on or what's happening anywhere. And I want to make sure that the community comes first, and that the community knows what's happening, and that the community is comfortable with things. So I think the major difference is just that I want to develop the community in general.
Okay, thank you. And Melly, what makes you different from the other candidates?
Well, other than being a mod, I have led not just communities, but I've led an entire server in build challenges. And I know quite a few things about organization and making things run smoothly. I know that with a lot of patience and practice, we'll be able to get Edge working in a a way that I think everybody would be satisfied with. And as far as my other strengths, like I'm a pretty decent builder, and I love to finish projects.
Okay, thank you very much. And that about wraps it up for the debate tonight. All the candidates up here are the ones you can vote for. Sure, Redding will post the actual link for the votes shortly. And how long do we have until this is done?
The polls will close end of 10 p.m. Eastern Saturday.
All right, so we got 2 days to get the voting done. Everyone get out there, vote for your favorite, and we'll see you all again on Saturday night.
These debates are hereby closed.